And we could see, we're not dumb. We could see that my mom and my dad were not even like,
but
they hated each other.
Again, to your point, I've been around rich people.
Yeah, money doesn't, money is more
And
problems.
let me tell you something. Their little young girlfriends used to flirt with me and give me the FUIs and all that stuff. I did, if you're the Mark Carroll Christmas event they have here in Atlanta. Anyway, he's like this philanthropist here. And he had a big Christmas drive. I was auctioning off my work at the Porsche Experience. You ever been to the Porsche Experience? That would be a great date.
I need to go
Somebody
there.
take you to the Porsche
Somebody
Experience.
take me to a Porsche Experience.
There you go.
I just found out what that is.
Right, and it's where you, it's this huge place where you could actually drive the Porsche.
Okay.
Like a 911s, all of those stuff. Yeah. I don't know if I think they could take you and drive them and they go around the course. Anyway, so it was this black tie event. You know what I mean? I'm there. I'm looking sharp as what. And I'm like, when you feel these eyes on you, and there was these beautiful young women up in there mixing around with the money and all this other stuff. And I'll never forget. This is, white guy, suited out, and his girl was beeline, so disrespectful to me, like giving me the F, he was like the biggest cuck. Like, she wanted him to know she is looking at me, and she wants, just like I guess what you were talking about earlier about some guys like abuse. You said
Mental, emotional.
There's like guys that are cucks, and I'm like, he got all this money, I don't. You know what I'm saying?
But it's not about the money. You want his attention, and he clearly doesn't care about you, and so you're gonna try to do anything.
No, he cared. That dude cared.
But that's the whole game that you're playing. You're like, oh my god, let me make him jealous, and it's a whole thing that you're playing. But again, and that's how you know that relationship is not coming from love, because when you do things, remember how I said you water that flower when you love it, because when you have to always poke and just make someone jealous and go into this, I always call those negative emotions. So everything that's too much, which they're necessary, but they're negative emotions. When I have to make you jealous, and that's a little, that's you're taking a little too far, because you can also, and again, I think that's...
Well, there are rich guys that do worship the ground that beautiful women walk.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah,
but a lot of times...
I've seen it's like, especially here in Atlanta, where it's like, women will cry, she'll like whatever, da. Dude sending her money just to shut up, or whatever, and he has like no backbone at all, and she finesses it, because I think we gotta look at it too. It's like, let's say it's a particular guy that he got his wealth through academics, working hard, but on the other side of his social skills, he has absolutely no experience with women. That he's going to be used.
Yeah, of course. But I think it can only, it's age gap, right? It has its own challenges, and it has its own people that can work it out. I think it's the same thing with large financial gap, right? Because a lot of times men who are very rich, they would want to, it's kind of like, well, look, I got all this money so I can do this. So it's kind of like, let me have my ego showing off. And I think the only time that it's actually going to be working and it's going to be powerful is when you both have your own things going on. It doesn't have to be that a woman is making millions and billions, because you don't want to compete with a man, right? But you still have something that's like a passion project. Right, you don't want to compete. You want to complete something, or again, you want to be collaborative.
People ask me like, why don't date artists? I don't want to compete with artists. Like, I don't want to like if she's bad, I'm going to look down at her work. You know what I'm saying? If she's good, maybe. I mean, I do have a friend who, they're both successful artists, but their type of art are two different type of things. And it was that artist right over there. Anyway, so and it's a beautiful symbiotic relationship. But me, I'm competitive. Like, plus,
You're probably sensitive too.
I take criticism better than I take praise. I don't like praise. I just like it goes right over my head. I want to hear like the criticism. I look for the negative comments
Right.
because it's like okay, I don't even think like I'm perfect or I could like I'm there yet. So it's like I want to get that extra edge. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
No, but
I have a story.
All
So
right.
over the summer, I was just I was actually on Raya. So one of the soccer players, very big soccer player, international star,
Gotcha.
reached out to me and said, "Hey, I would really like to meet you." And so it started off just very casual, how are you doing, whatever. So I'm like, oh, cool. Look up the soccer star, big thing. I'm like, cool. So and I'm doing some research because I always do that. Regardless of who you are, I don't care. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go on Google and I'm gonna Google your number, find your full name, just make sure there are no rape reports, none of that. So I'm like, okay, cool. This guy is looking super clean. So like, no girlfriend, no nothing. That's another thing. You have to have no girlfriend, no wife. I don't care if you are still in the divorce process. No. So. And then it gets to the point where he's like, hey, can I have your number? I'm like, sure, here's my number. So we're texting, then he FaceTimed me. I'm like, all right, good guy. We're having conversations, we're vibing whatsoever. He's in Chicago, I'm here. And then he gets to the point where he's like, well, come out to Chicago. I want to meet you. And I was like, well, I've never been to Chicago. He's like, well, that's great. So let me show you the city. So I go like, well, how do you want me to get there? Do you want me to teleport there? And he goes like, oh no, I got your flight. Don't worry about that. So I'm in my mind, I'm like, man, I'm about to fly first class. Like I'm about to have this like amazing time. I was just like in complete delusion because I've never done that before. I've never like allowed anyone to fly me out who are on that kind of level, right? Like there's only one person that flew me out to Atlanta. That's how I discovered Atlanta. But anyways, so
I know that story.
So I know you know that story. That's actually how we met through that flight that got me to Atlanta.
Anyway.
So I get him my information. He gets me a flight on Delta. I get just the regular class, not even extra legroom space. So whatever. I'm like, cool. And
You're
then
tall.
and I'm tall, and I'm like, this is crazy, but I can upgrade. I have my old Delta points, and I'm just so shy to ask for, hey, like give me like a extra legroom space or like upgrade my seat. And we don't discuss anything about hotels because I'm like, cool, like this guy's really fun, and I'm in my just like I didn't really care. I was like, I just want to experience this because I've never done it, so let me do it. And in my mind, I'm staying in his house. I'm gonna see how he lives. He's gonna show me Chicago. He has this like beautiful apartment. So the day before the flight comes, and he was in Hawaii, I think. He was with his family, and like he's showing me the house that he's staying in Hawaii, showing me his family. Everything is going great. In my mind, I'm like, man, this could be a marriage material. Then I look it up, and then I see that he's also a part of like whatever religion that I kind of was like a little skeptical. I'm not gonna say nothing about the religion, but because I don't want no one to find out. But so I'm having a really bad feeling inside. I'm like, something's about to happen. All of a sudden I get a text that like, hey, I just booked your hotel. And he books me a Soho house, which if you guys don't know, Soho House is essentially, it's like a private membership club, and it's in LA, it's in New York, it's in Chicago, in the biggest cities. And a lot of times you can't get in there. You can't have phones in there. So a lot of times when people take you to the hotels, like the Thompson used to have that private membership club upstairs, right, that they just opened up to the public. A lot of times when people take you to those clubs, it's some influential people, and it's very like secure. No one can take pictures of you. It's very like confidential. So a lot of influential men would bring women there when they cheat on their wives or doing something shady. And in my mind, I'm like, oh hell no, I'm not staying in that hotel. But I was like, you know what? Let me just pack my bags, and I'm still gonna go because I have some friends in Chicago. I'm just being completely delusional. And I'm driving to the airport, and he's like, well, text me when you're on the way to the airport. Text him when I'm on my way to the airport. No response. I'm like, shit. What is gonna happen? And I'm sitting there texting my best friend. I was like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing, but if anything, I'm just gonna go and explore Chicago. It's a free flight, whatever. I'm on the plane, I land. She's like, and it was a weekend before my birthday. So she's like, you know what, if anything, just come to California. And I'm sitting there, I was like, actually, kind of cool idea. In my mind, Chicago was closer to California, but whatever. So I land, I call him. He doesn't pick up the phone. So I send him a message. No response. This person calls me an hour later after I landed saying that he had a funeral that he had to go to, and the funeral got pushed back by 3 hours.
What?
And I'm like, you must be kidding me right now. So I obviously got a flight to California while I was in Chicago. I was like, it's my birthday. I want to be with my people. So I actually ended up flying to California. But this guy literally calls me and says, my funeral got pushed back. And I said, well, I'm really sorry for whoever is going through this, but yeah, I'm gonna do my own thing. He's like, what do you mean? I can send you a car to the airport and I can take you to the hotel. I'm like, I'm okay, thank you. I'm going to do my own thing. And he's like, what are you gonna do? And I'm like, well, I'm actually on my way to California. He's like, are you sure? I'm like, absolutely. And I was like, yeah, have a good rest of your day. And I hang up the phone and I obviously leave. I've never heard from him again. He spent like at least like $2,000 to $3,000 on me.
Yeah.
And I was just like, this is mesmerizing how much work they will put in to get you there. And then they probably have other people that they're hanging out with. And I'm like, also, I had this whole time, I had this intuition that something is about to go wrong. Something is about to go wrong. But I still went, right? Because I was like, man, let me do this. This is so fun. This is such a cool story. And then I have a friend who is also a soccer player, very famous international star, won multiple World Cups. and so you don't know that one, but like, so that guy, I call him and I'm like, oh my God, this is what happened. And he goes like, you know what? Back when I was playing, this is what we would do to girls all the time. We would just fly them out and we would find someone else, or would not feel like, you know, spending the time with them. We would get them the hotel literally like the night before,
right.
Put them somewhere like Soho House or something like Thompson where it's discreet. And we're just kind of like let them go. But he's like, I've never heard a girl actually not come out. Like they would always just come out and do something. He's like, wait, he's like, you actually did your own thing? I'm like, well, yeah. I mean, listen, this person, I have those points now in Delta, so I can just, you know, it's my flight now, so I can do whatever I want with it, right? It was like a $700 flight because it was a very last minute flight.
Right.
So I'm like, it was enough money to get to California, and then I had points to fly back.